Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Dr. Homebrew. We're live, of course, on Friday at, not NHC, but HomebrewCon.
HomebrewCon. I'm getting used to it.
NHC. Which is also NHC because it's the competition is NHC. So we could say NHC. Like if you forget, if you're old like me, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm 40 years old.
You're not old.
I'm super old.
You're not old.
You forget, and you can call it NHC, but you're still talking about the competition. And so I think it's
Right.
fine. But for youngsters out there, it's HomebrewCon.
They wanted to differentiate and make it sound cooler.
And I appreciate that.
I think they succeeded, I suppose.
I want to differentiate myself from the show because we have what I call a bullshit IPA, but it's an NEIPA, which, as we know, is not really an IPA.
Any IPA.
But that's fine. Any IPA will do. If you like New England-style IPAs, any IPA will do. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Brian, you're with me.
I'm drinking this hazy thing here. It's
Why?
NEIPA.
Why are you doing that?
Revision. What's the name of this one?
That one's Revision something or other. I forget. The can's over there, and I forgot the name already. There were too many of them. We also have two of my New England double IPAs.
Smoke and Mirrors.
We have a Bare Bottle Pineapple Shakes IPA, and then we have a double IPA from Cellar Maker Turret Juice, and then we have an APA, a New England APA from Cellar Maker called The Glow.
It's nothing sacred.
Look at JP over there. He's like, all right, which one do I drink first?
I don't drink IPAs anyway, so I guess I don't really care, but I'm a grumpy old man. But if you're starting to fuck with the pale ales now, get out of my face.
Brian and I were just talking about doing a New England-style alt soon. We're going to do hazy alt beers.
You guys are
hazy
both
Kolsch's
assholes.
as well, New England-style Kolsch's. That's going to be one of our things as well.
Well, that might be good.
Yeah.
No, anyway, it's Dr. Homebrew, and before we start talking shit about more beer to alienate everybody, I do want to thank 5 Star, our sponsor here of the show, 5 Star Chemicals. You can go to 5starchemicals.com. I think their booth is right over there. Go say hi to everybody and thank them very much for participating in the show.
That works well on radio
when
when you point somewhere. And,
it's fine. Everyone knows we're live. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I've said dumber stuff and done dumber things on the air than point behind me. You know
There's dumb and there's dumber.
So today on the show, what we're going to do is we're going to taste a stout from Kalin, sitting right here. How's it going, man? Give him the
Pretty
mic,
good.
Brian.
How's it
Jesus
going?
Christ. Good. I was talking to Kalin before the show. I'm like, thank you very much for just what I call the missionary position stout. It's basic. It's not cloudy. It's not experimental. It's just plain old stout, and I sincerely want to thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay, good.
You can thank him later when you taste it.
Yeah, well, all right. And then someone else called Jason, which I think is the strongest name ever, with the New England-style bullshit IPA. So we're going to try those. And then, are we drinking these commercial ones, too? Are you guys drinking these commercial ones, too?
Our large audience out here is going to help us drink these beers.
I think so.
Like, yay! That's
Call
great.
reinforcements. Yeah, we had 2 Brians on last time, and now we got 2 Jasons. So.
We never have another Keith on the damn show. Why is that?
It's not a
very popular name.
It's not a very good name, to be honest.
It's true.
That's why we call you Kevin and Kyle.
Kyle. You
We
don't
got
even know
Kyle
my name.
sitting out there. We can bring Kyle on.
Might as well just be Kyle.
I think Kyle's a better name than Keith, to be honest.
I'm
It's
thinking
a
about
stronger
changing.
name.
I'm thinking about changing. I think it's a good idea.
I think you should. You guys enjoying Portland or what, man?
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love Portland, yeah.
I'm one of those. Right now I'm going through a bunch of water all the time. And, thank you, Beverly. Appreciate that.
You're going through a bunch of water.
I'm going through a bunch of water. I'm drinking tons of water because I'm super thirsty, but I'm peeing every 25 minutes. Like I might have to take a break and then go pee. That's how often I'm peeing, but I can't stop drinking water.
We just spent like 2.5 hours drinking sour beers at Cascade Barrel House. And, well, they brought us water, too. And then I took some Tums when I got back to my room.
Because you're
and then
like
I brushed my
49
teeth.
years
So
old.
I've got the perfect, my palate's so ready for judging. It tastes like sour beer,
and
Tums, and toothpaste all mixed together.
At least you can taste all of those things.
Everything sounds perfect. And then I pounded a Mountain Dew on the way here just to kind of wake up from all the beer. I was feeling a little rummy. And there you go. It's a perfect combination. I highly recommend it.
You didn't just hit the dispensary, right? Like, there's a pot dispensary right across the street. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it is kind of the perfect.
Oregon's finest cannabis.
We're gonna share that later on the show.
I brought you a gift. It is kind of the perfect placement for a business like that.
Like across from the convention center was out of town, or like we can't get this. We can't get this in California. Oh wait, we can get this in California.
Sure.
We can't get this in Colorado. Oh, we can get this in Colorado too. But
you can't go across the street from where everybody is. Yeah. And get it. And I was thinking about, oh, man, that
There's a guy named Tony across the street from me that I just pretty much go right over.
He's your plug? Tony, what's up? 2 for $5s. Tony's got 2 for $5s.
Trade him some beer, get little edibles.
Let's start drinking Kalin Stout.
Okay, well, first,
please.
We need to request that you close your eyes.
We're going to have a big surprise for you.
You guys did this to me once in the hotel room last night. I think it's not appropriate for everybody else.
Just humor me. Just look the other way for a second.
All right.
Hold this, Kalin.
I'm closing my eyes. What are we doing? Taylor,
we're going to tell you
if it's anything bad,
to taste this beer.
Spell out the letters on my leg with your hand of what they're doing.
Okay, we're going to let you taste this with your eyes closed.
Don't look at the beer.
Don't look at the beer.
Just taste it.
Oh, my God. I have to. Okay.
We're not trying to trick you too bad.
First?
Smell it and taste it.
You're not devoid of all. You can hear and you can still smell. You just can't see.
What do you get, sir?
Taylor's describing it to me right now. I smell yeast and coffee.
Coffee. Good coffee-like aroma for a stout.
But I smell kind of like yeast. This might sound weird, but sometimes when you smell like a yeasty beer, it smells gray. If that makes any sense. I don't know why. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
I can smell colors, too, yeah.
I'm very good at smelling the color purple, sometimes green.
I have a hole with the color orange for some reason. I just can't pick it up on the aroma.
It just tastes like carbonated coffee, honestly.
Any chocolate in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little chocolatey, but honestly, I get more kind of the yeast flavor than... Yeah, chocolate's there. But yeah, it tastes like kind of chocolatey... I feel like, I don't know, I feel I'm just speaking into the void. I feel like I'm in like a Lovecraft fucking story. And just.
So we have news for you. This is not a garden variety stout. I need you to look at the beer. And it's a golden stout.
Okay, all right. So Kalin lied to me.
What inspired this, Kalin?
How much do you like Kalin now?
I asked specifically if this was missionary style, and he said yes.
So he gave you the quick, I don't know what you call it. I don't want to talk about it, but you start off missionary, then something else happens, and you're like, whoa, what happened
I feel
there?
like he just screwed me over. He's like, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just take this pill.
He performed the flip move or whatever,
Yeah. Kalin, how long you been brewing, man, to pull off a weird shit like this?
Oh, gosh. I would say probably like 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this your first foray into a what Roger from Faction would call a white stout or a?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I went to Paso Robles for a trip a few months ago and went to a brewery called Earth and Fire, and this guy had an April Fool's beer.
Okay,
and this was his April Fool's beer. I'm like,
that's
kind of a trip. I like that.
That's a good name for a beer like this.
Yeah,
for sure. Wow, that's trippy. Well, Keith, why don't you start us out, please, and go through the beer, and then afterwards, Brian will do the same, and then we'll get to the recipe, and maybe teach someone who wants to fool other people.
Yeah, so I mean,
how to make this.
We actually
I guess it's full of roasted barley, right?
Yeah, and we struggled a little bit for the category on this one too. We ended up landing on 34B as the category,
which is what
I believe was it's mixed. It's
mixed
specialty, but mixed style
specialty
is what we
mixed
did. Yeah.
Specialty, okay.
And we were just given that it was a golden stout and special ingredients of coffee and chocolate. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go over the overall impression here.
All right.
Aroma-wise, I got a strong coffee, hints of green pepper, low malt sweetness, high chocolate aroma, no hops, really clean, no off aromas. Just overall real clean. I give it a 9 out of 12. Appearance, medium gold, medium to medium dark gold, low white head. It reforms a little bit when you start the glass up, but it kind of dissipates pretty quickly there. Get a light haze with the beer as well. Even if you're going to clear the cup, there's still some haze
Comparatively to the rest of the junk we have on the table, this is the most crystal clear beer I've ever had.
Well, this isn't a New England style golden stout. That's coming up next.
Okay,
that's Kalen's next beer.
I can't wait for that. Kalin never sent in beer again.
So I gave it a 2 out of 3 for appearance, mostly based on the head and a little bit of haze.
Yeah.
Flavor-wise, got a lot of coffee, lots and lots of coffee, medium-low chocolate, not a lot of sweetness. So, and I got a medium-strong bitterness, medium-high bitterness. I thought the finished a little harsh in the bitterness there. I also get a touch acidic, no hop flavor, balances toward bitterness and not sweetness. Also getting some of the green flavor, the vegetal flavor. I think maybe it's a little pepper-like, maybe little leafy, but that's just mild, and I'm assuming that's from the coffee. Again, clean fermentation, no off flavors, no diacetyl, no acetaldehyde. Overall, good job there in terms of fermentation. Medium body, medium low carbonation, medium astringency from hops, from coffee, maybe even astringency a little bit coming from the grain. I'm getting a little bit of not necessarily hop derived, just a touch of the puckering, lingering astringency with this. I think, like I said, that's probably the malt maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then
it's almost like dry, like almost tannic, maybe?
Yeah. And then flavor-wise, I forgot to give you the score. It was 11 out of 20, and then mouthfeel, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Overall impression, I thought this was really interesting, and overall, quite done, well done. It fooled you enough that your eyes closed, you thought it was. You kind of were thinking it was a stout anyway, but that coffee and chocolate gives you that perception of a stout. For me, I would really like to see more sweetness, a little more body, maybe some flaked malts, maybe for some flaked oats in there, maybe some flaked wheat. You may already have some in there, maybe up that a little bit.
Lactose?
Little lactose would be great as well. Maybe up the mash temp, and possibly also use some more crystal, something like that. I would just like to see a little more sweetness to give me more of that stout sort of character. But with that being said, I'm not really sure what style of stout we're shooting for here, and that's okay. But I think if you really want to nail it and say, hey, I'm really going to go for a certain type of stout, it'd be great if you said, hey, this is an oatmeal Golden Stout, or this is a foreign extra Golden Stout, or an Irish, Irish Golden Stout. It'd be kind of great just kind of nail it down there. I think Brian even said, hey, maybe this is more like an American Golden Stout, without the hops. Really, I'm not getting a lot of that hop character.
So you're saying not only for judging to help clarify, but to also maybe to help Kalin with the recipe formulation.
Yeah, kind of figure out where you want to go there, what you really want it to taste like. And it's if you really want it to taste like a certain type of stout, or you're just trying to kind of hit the middle of the ballpark. But I think the sweetness would really help a little more with the flavor, and I would just improve it overall. And just that little astringency, a little bitterness to me. That was a little bit of a turnoff, but overall I gave it a 6 out of 10 for overall impression. 31 out of 50 was my final score.
Awesome. Excellent.
Cool.
31. Yeah. All right, Brian. Razzle dazzle, baby.
Kalin is a buddy from my club, the Mads Armitage, so
he gets a 50.
Yeah, we're done here. 50.
All right, Brian. There we go. Thank you.
No, I like this beer as well. I thought the aroma had a nice coffee aromatic jumping out right up front. Light cocoa, kind of medium dark chocolate below that, and pleasant and clean. I didn't get any defects in it. The hops were pretty subdued, maybe just a very low earthy hop. No DMS or diacetyl. Kind of medium low fruity esters. They were kind of subdued and out of the way too. I would say it was more coffee-like than a full kind of stout impression with the roastiness that I'd want there. But I should have judged it blind like we made JP do somehow, but I couldn't do that.
No, it takes a palate of extraordinary depth to be able to judge it.
And your eyes have to be closed. It's kind of hard to write with your eyes closed.
Well, they were talking in the Cicerone talk yesterday about how even all of your senses color your sense of flavor. Flavor is created in the brain. It's not coming from just your mouth. Your mouth doesn't have any, it's sending signals, but it's not processing the information and saying, this is this taste. Your tongue and then the back, there's, it just all combines. And the way you look at it, everything that, the sense of touch, just kind of everything combines to make flavor in your brain.
You mentioned hearing as well.
The mouthfeel.
Listen to the beer as it's poured. Sounds like the ocean.
They were talking about, and this is off the reservation, but the guy was talking about how low-frequency sounds, like on an airplane, can make things taste more bitter, actually. Your sense of bitterness is heightened on it when you hear a constant low-frequency, high-volume sound.
I find that a lot when I'm drinking double IPAs.
And it's like there's weird, there's weird stuff. So that's why everything tastes different on an airplane. Oh. But I digress.
Repeat the whole talk. Let's go.
Just go back and listen to the talk. It's a good talk.
It sounds good. It sounds really interesting.
So the color-wise, it's a pretty medium yellowy orange golden color, moderate haze with a low white head that persisted. It turned into a ring of some kind of finer and some larger bubbles ringing the glass. It faded a little quicker than I would have hoped. Might be a little low on CO2. Flavor-wise, I got a pleasant, freshly roasted coffee flavor. It's not like the stale diner coffee. It's a nice, rich kind of coffee flavor. And it's right up front. And, on the end of that, you get a semi-dry finish. So it does dry out a bit. There's not very much sweetness there. But I kind of liked that. I like the way the coffee played off of the drying finish, and it's kind of like a dry stout of some sort, or an American stout without so much hops. But yeah, the hops were low, kind of just backgroundy, maybe a little low earthy thing, and there wasn't really too much bitterness either. And I think most of the bitterness was coming from the coffee itself, more than the hops. So, but clean ale fermentation, it's somewhat more stout-like to me in the flavor. Once I could get that full malt in my mouth and everything else there. I mean, it doesn't have too much in the way of like middle malts, like no caramelly sweetness or anything like that, but it's just a lot of coffee, a little cocoa, and some bready malt underneath that. But it's nice. No defects, and that roastiness, the kind of light roastiness from the coffee lingers nicely in the aftertaste. So I enjoyed the flavor. I marked it up a little bit on that section. So mouthfeel-wise, it's medium-bodied. It has, I would say, medium-low to maybe lower carbonation. I didn't get any obvious warmth there. It's not super alcoholic. To me, the astringency was fairly low. There was a touch of it there, but it wasn't jumping out at me. I didn't really knock it down for that.
And you mentioned coffee too, and I didn't. I obviously should have thought of that, but that also could be what's giving me some of that astringency.
Yeah,
well,
some of the coffee. And maybe some of the acid you were getting too.
Yeah,
and it is somewhat acidic, and stouts can be with all that dark malt in there. It's an acidic beast.
Right.
It was not very creamy though. I think could use a little smoother kind of impression. Could use some of that. But the mouthfeel was pretty much mostly there for what you'd want in a, quote, stout.
Right.
Overall, I just thought it was a very nice job getting such a light-colored beer to have such a coffee-like impression. I was maybe comparing it to, the stout version of the stone version of the Golden Stout that I'd had a long time ago when they did that experiment. And it tastes kind of pretty much along the lines of that, like a fresher version of that than the bottle I had when it was... it'd been out for a while. This is just freshly kegged, I think. So, and we're going to be pouring it, by the way, at our Mad Zymergist booth Club night tonight. So come and taste it, everybody.
Wow. I think both beers. The second beer will be poured at the club.
Club
night
right.
So,
as well.
Yeah,
so,
what'd you give it, Brian?
Coffee's a bit high compared to the chocolate. I would bring that up a little bit, and also carbonate a little bit more. I can kind of get what JP's saying. It's it's a little like coffee malt water. It's not.
Yeah, it was kind of thin. And
there need to be some fuller
there.
flavors in there somehow to just call it if you were just to make someone close their eyes and taste it as a stout. But I gave it a 36. I thought it was a very pleasant beer. Very good example of what I would imagine this style to be. And I've only had it maybe once in my life, twice in my life, something like that. So, thank you.
Well, Kalin, let's talk to you real fast, man. So I imagine the coffee is supposed to replicate kind of the dark grain, so you're trying to get that astringency.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to do. That's what I was trying to do with that. I personally, cold brewed coffee, put it in there, and then I tasted it on Sunday night, and I'm like, yeah, it's not enough coffee in there, so I actually dropped whole bean coffee into it for one night before I finished it off and brought it up here.
And that worked for you.
Well, that's what got the beast of the coffee that's in the beginning of it.
Did you want the coffee to come through?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not even a coffee drinker, but that's what I was going
How do you
for.
have coffee on you then? What's wrong with you?
There's something called stores where you can go out and buy the coffee.
Never heard of them. Never.
No, I think that's a great way to do it. I think the whole beans are the way. Coffee's really porous, and I think it's a great way to add coffee is to, like you did, 1 to 2 days in the secondary or the keg or whatever. Yeah, no cold brew. And it's easier that way, and it works really well.
Well, the only reason I ask is because some people use the coffee to get that astringency for the dark grains, but they don't necessarily want the coffee flavor to come through, which is always a weird, jumble of ideas. But that's the only reason I'm asking.
The cold brew brought the flavor in, but it didn't bring any aroma with it. So I was going for the aroma because I felt like it didn't have any aroma on it. So I was trying to bring the aroma into it big time.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor, run through your recipe if you wouldn't mind, and give people at home a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about. So
it's a 7.9% beer. This is 10 gallons. So I have 18 pounds of 2-row, 3 pounds of Munich, 3 pounds of flaked oats, and 1.5 pounds of flaked barley, and then 12 ounces of acidulated malt just because I have pretty high pH water, so I added that in.
Okay.
And then I had 3 ounces of Pearl at 60 minutes, and then 1 ounce of Tettenegg at 5 minutes on it. With the London Ale 3, the 1318, because I like to make the hazy IPAs at home, so I have that in my fridge.
I was going to ask you if that had something to do with the hazy IPAs. I knew that was coming.
You. It's all right.
I was going to ask that.
It's all right.
Then I did 4 ounces of coffee cold brew with, I think, about 20 ounces of water into it. So.
Only 4 ounces. Seems like not a lot.
It actually, when you do it, it's almost a pint, almost a pint glass full.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It wasn't bad. I ground that up coarsely and then cold brewed it for only a day, though. So that might have been one of the reasons. Poured it in, tasted it, and I'm like, there's not a lot of coffee there. Mm-hmm. And so then that's when I dry beaned it, or whatever you would call that, dry beaning.
Sure.
And then I made a tincture with cocoa nibs and vanilla to get the chocolate on there. So that was about a 2-week thing. I did 3 ounces of cocoa and 1 vanilla bean and 6 ounces of vodka and let them sit. So, and that's about it right there.
I didn't get the vanilla at all either. That was kind of
it was just to smooth out the chocolate, I think.
Yeah, and I wonder if that just kind of combines with the coffee and kind of just maybe accentuates more of the coffee than anything, I would guess, because vanilla kind of goes with that.
Cuts down on the chocolate bite that you get with cocoa nibs, maybe, that it kind of rounds out the end of it.
So. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that go a little higher. I think the other things I like that you're using oats and barley, and maybe up the flake barley a little bit, and add a little bit of the crystal too, possibly to get a little more sweetness there too. I think would work well with the beer. But I think
a lighter crystal, or what color would you think?
That's a good question.
A 20, or
I think I would probably
a little bit of 40.
Idiot, I would probably add like 2 or 3 different types, and like maybe a 60 and a 120, and maybe like 66% of the 60, and then a little bit. A little dark fruit wouldn't be bad as well. But then you're starting to mess with the color, obviously. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep it as kind of light as possible. So you're probably right. You'd probably want the sweetness and just go with something like a 20 crystal or something like that. I didn't even think about the color. So
or just a bunch of carapils or something too.
Yeah.
Or like you were saying, Keith, some flaked oats maybe, or
yeah, I mean,
like my brilliant idea of lactose. I just don't.
There's some in here, but lactose would be good too.
I don't want you to forget that I had a good idea.
There's one every.
Because that happens.
Every 5 shows you have one, so
well,
that's being generous on my part.
All right, well there you go. We're Kalin, do you have any questions for the guys on the recipe, or any sort of anything you want to get cleared up? Or
no, I'm happy with the beer, so I'm good with it. So
yeah, it was good, man. I appreciate you dragging it all the way up here.
It almost didn't make it.
Really?
Yeah, it got lost in Oakland Airport and sat there for an entire day. That's why we couldn't do it yesterday, because it was sitting in the airport.
He was sitting in the airport. He was just waiting
all
for
my
it.
clothes,
he was walking
I
around
was
looking
here.
for it.
Okay, all right. Well,
Kalin was pretty stinky by the time we got around to the welcome party last night. I have to say, he's been wearing the same clothes for 2 and a
He was good to go to lines with, because you'd go into a line with him and people would just clear out. So you just go right to the front.
How did this homeless man? This guy's local.
That's how you do it. You get someone like that, and then put him with you, and you just clear people out. And I can't smell anything, so I'm still cold, so it's perfect for me because I can't smell how bad he smells.
You guys are like best friends.
Yeah.
We hang with the homeless. They need some love, man. They need some love, and they need beer.
And
apparently not the best thing to make fun of right now, really. But
okay, before we take a break real fast, you guys, More Beer has teamed up with the great John Palmer. You guys have heard of John Palmer, to make 27 beer kits based on the recipes found in Brewing Classic Styles, written by Palmer and Jamil Zainshef. These kits are true to style and are all within BJCP guidelines, enabling them to be easily entered into your upcoming competitions. Buy 2 kits and get fast and free shipping from the lovely people over at morebeer.com.
I think you said buy 2 kids. I was like,
buy 2 kids, get 1 free. That's just kind of what happens also. But
one is enough.
It's the dark web. Anything
one is enough.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll be right back with Jason and his New England IPA.
Can't wait.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack King.
Dr. Homebrew, please report to the ER for code blue. Dr. Homebrew to the ER, please. No, and your tea time has been moved to 2:30.
All right, thanks for sticking with us, everybody, while Keith is pouring New England IPA. I want to let you go. Here you go, Taylor. I'll give you that one. Let you guys know about the Smart Brew water testing kit, which is the iDip, and they have a booth right behind us, you guys, if you want to go check it out. If it's
I just ran over there and met some of the gals over there.
Oh,
nice folks, and they have a new pH meter that they're coming out with very shortly that they have here at the show that you can't get yet, but they're showing it off. So looks
I like
cool.
exclusives. Well, the
how
iDip,
much was it?
Oh, they didn't tell me that.
The iDip is the only meter on the market that runs water tests with no math needed, which is great if you're dumb like me. It has the ability to test over 40 different water quality tests. 4 come preloaded, and 4 or more are available, for things like total alkalinity, chloride, calcium hardness, pH, sulfate, and more. And you go to smartbrewkit.com if you want and enter code TBN10 at checkout and save $10 on either the standard or advanced Smart Brew testing kit. Yeah, I love doing shows from NHC, man, because then we can just go to the booth of the sponsors and talk to them and hang out. I like that. That's
everybody's right here. Yeah, I was talking
Everyone's
to
here.
Pico Brew earlier, all the Growler Works guys. Okay.
They should just do your live reads, really. Bring them over while they're here and be like, come on.
Yeah, that would be really
a lot
awesome.
of sponsors and potential sponsors here. Listen up,
Let's
people.
line them all up. Who wants to talk in the microphone? All right, Jason. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Perfect. I see Brian just controlling you and holding your microphone.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Take that away from him. How long you been homebrewing, man?
About almost 12 years.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right. So you've been around the block a few times.
Yep.
And you're picking up on this New England IPA trend.
Yes.
What do you like about it?
Well, I took a trip.
I don't mean that like you're super like condescending or aggressive. Like I honestly want to know why people are drawn to this enough to make it at home.
I mean, I'm a judge, and I went out to New England to really check out like the people that originated the style.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that really blew me away. Not some of the stuff that was local back home, but when I came back, I was like, I'm not going to be able to get this anywhere. And so
Right.
I was shooting for the same level of maltiness.
Okay.
The maltiness was a little bit different, and I liked the hop character too.
Because we're still learning out here.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think people haven't tried that yet, so they hear what it's like, and then they try to reproduce what they've heard.
Right?
Yeah.
Or they have other people's examples,
Right.
Which are the same way.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you think you nailed it?
What's sitting in front of you now, I was kind of surprised. Like, it seems a little oxidized.
Okay.
The one that was coming out of the keg last night or the night before was beautiful. But it's such a delicate style. Like, so this particular one I don't think is nailed, but yeah.
But you're getting close.
Close.
How many times have you brewed a style like this?
I brewed that style for the last year. Not every beer, obviously, but
well, I don't
probably
know.
Probably about 6 or 7 batches, maybe 8. Yeah.
And you're not. It's not old for you. You haven't gotten over it. Or
I mean,
or are you
I
one
was
of those
so
brewers
blown
that you need to get it first? You need to get it right, and then you can stop.
I kind of need to get it right.
All right.
Like a lot of other styles, I worked. If it's something that I'm really into, I'll work on it for a while to get what I expect out of the style. But when I went out there and tried Treehouse and Trillium and Alchemist, I was so blown away that I was like, I'm going to work on this until I get something in the neighborhood.
Okay.
In the neighborhood. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, since you have a microphone and Brian doesn't. No.
Okay, wow. Do you want to go first, Brian? I'll let you go first this time since
I'm either way.
Go ahead, you go first. Go ahead.
Let's stick with the standard routine because it just feels right.
There you go.
So I kind of agree with the hop notes being slightly subdued. Now, you want to get a big, pungent, bright, hop thing here, and I think that maybe either some oxidation or something else is just killing a little bit of that juiciness. It's got a nice, medium strong, pleasant tropical aroma. I like the hop notes there. It's guava, papaya right up front, but it's a little subdued, and the malt comes through a little more. Esters are kind of medium high and fruity, kind of fruit punch like. Malt is low, bready, and supporting. It comes through just enough. I felt like I got a little kind of faint, maybe green vegetal thing in this, like maybe the hops were declining a little bit in some way, and it is such a delicate style.
It's funny you were saying guava, and I was thinking like green guava, like unripened.
Yeah, like unripe.
So it's funny you mentioned that.
Unripe guava.
Yeah.
Didn't get any DMS or diacetyl. There's no baddies in here. It's just a nice, clean beer. Appearance-wise, golden colored and very hazy. It looks like a cross between apple and orange juice. When JP came over and we were judging, he's like, "What is that orange juice you guys are judging? What are you bringing on the show? Kick this guy off." Had a low white head. I felt like the head was a little low. It should have been a little larger and persisted a little better. Yeah. But it actually does stick around well. It just kind of rings the glass with some larger and some finer bubbles. I actually gave it full points for appearance, even though the head fell a little low. Might just be the plastic here. I don't know. Flavor-wise, it's medium-high hops, again, with that kind of tropical presentation. I would like a touch more. It's it's kind of there. It's good. The bitterness is, I would say, medium-low. There's something a little coarse in there. I wouldn't say it's exactly a lot of bitterness, but it's just kind of medium-low bitterness perception, you could say. But it has this nice, clean Vermont-style ale ferment. It seems to just have the right kind of yeast for it. It gives that big fruitiness. It's balanced to the hops still. I mean, very, very hop-forward. And it finishes fairly dry. It's pretty dry. But yeah, with some bready malt supporting, and again, no bad stuff. Just a nice, clean. Seems like the water's pretty much right. It seems like there's nothing super minerally in there, crazy. Just a nice, clean, that dries off the tongue and kind of leaves you with some fruitiness in the aftertaste there.
Okay.
Mouthfeel-wise, it's medium light body, moderate astringency, I thought. That was distracting me a little bit, and maybe that's kind of relating back to that kind of coarseness of the hops and a little issue with the hops not being as fresh tasting as I wanted them to. Medium-low carbonation. Could use a bit more there to push some of the flavors up, and that I think would definitely help too. And it's not very creamy or smooth. Or it's not. I don't know that it needs that, but it's kind of crisp. But overall, I thought it was a pleasant drinking New England IPA. Has a lot going for it. A little lower on the CO2 and the astringency are kind of distracting me a touch. It has a lower hop presentation than most, but still very clean and enjoyable. And just clean up those few items. This is a fantastic version of the style, I think. I gave it a 35. So it was
all right.
It's there, but it's not a 40.
Is he in your homebrew club too? Because there's definitely a bias.
He's been to my house.
Whoa.
So he knows where you live. Are you saying that you're threatened?
Yeah, you helped me with
Is
some
he
competition
threatening you?
stuff.
All right.
No,
I've been to your house, too, and you've never been this nice
what's
to me.
my safe word?
Wow.
Yeah.
Unripened guava, I think. Is
Unripened
really,
guava.
Yeah.
I've watched you play Atari. Has he done that?
No.
Keith's
No,
jealous.
We didn't break out the 2600 when we were there.
No. All right, Keith,
We
go
did
ahead.
some darts in the garage,
I
though,
have
I
to
think.
talk now. I didn't realize. I was just here for looks.
Well,
So
either way, you're going to screw it up.
good point. Okay, Roma, strong tropical. Also got orangey and a little bit of floral. This is all medium dankness, low sweetness, very clean fermentation. I get some light esters, kind of like a pineapple ester actually. I gave it a 9 out of 12 for aroma. Super hazy. The first time I poured it, I had a really great long-lasting head on this, and it stuck around for a while. Compared to we were pouring a bunch of a bunch of New England IPAs over there, and I thought it had the best head retention of the ones that we looked at. So I gave it a 3 out of 3. I thought it was an orangey gold sort of color, and there was a lot of great lacing there with that. Moving on flavor, I got lots of orange, a little bit of tropical flavor there too, maybe some mango. I got medium low bitterness, very clean fermentation. Malt's just sweet. I wasn't getting a lot of other character, no biscuit character or anything like that, and not even really like a Pils malt character, just a sweet malt character, not very complex. Got more orange and I think maybe more esters. I got more tropical esters than even hop tropical flavors. I think the one thing that was kind of off-putting a little bit in terms of flavor to me was it was a little sharp, acidic, and then there was a hop bite. So it wasn't necessarily bitter, but you could taste like fresh hops in it, which isn't the same thing as bitterness. But you could tell there was a lot of hop character, and there are a lot of hops used in dry hopping. I got some of that coming through and burns my throat a little bit.
It burns the throat.
Medium body, lots of creaminess. So I did actually have a kind of a creaminess sensation, which is kind of fun with these styles. Almost feels thick in that sense. Very light astringency, very low alcohol. Carbonation was medium to medium low. 4 out of 5. I get a 13 out of 20 in terms of flavor. I thought it was a really, really good beer. I think there's room for improvement. It hits the mark for the style, but I'd love to see a little more hop flavor and aroma. I think really is just what's lacking for me. For me, it comes across as sort of orangey and not as tropical as it could be, and just not as strong as a hop aroma as I'd want, and even the flavor's lacking a little bit as well. With all that, I still gave it a 36 because I thought it was a really clean, well-made beer, and nothing really off. It just needs to put it over the edge. Needs to punch up the hops a little bit more, or serve it fresher. But there's also that sort of that hop bite. That's kind of the trick. There is the more hops you add, the more hops you're going to get there, and sometimes you need a little bit of age to kind of clean that up. But at the same time, the age sometimes kills some of it as well. So if you can cold crash it, or we'll talk about what you did there. If you can cold crash it, or sort of drop the hops out as much as possible, but still keep them fresh. And I'd love to hear what you do for dry hopping and all that, and sort of figure out is there a way to get more hop flavor and aroma in this.
Drive it in there.
Yeah, it feels like there is some hop matter in there, and if you look at it too, it's just slightly a little greenish, in a way. And some of them do that, but I kind of get what you say too about the creaminess. I was like, it's not very creamy, but actually when you swallow it, it does have that kind of the yeasty and the hop matter in it that kind of cascades down your throat.
Right.
It's a little, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird fullness to it in the back. Anyway,
okay.
But yeah.
What'd you give him, Keith?
36.
36.
35. Okay.
Has he been to your house too?
My old house. I don't think he's ever been to my new house.
He's seen me play Atari.
I don't play Atari, but yeah.
All right, Jason, what did you do for your recipe here, man?
So for the recipe, it was something like this. I mean, I got a little bit low efficiency on this mash because the mill was a little bit, the gap spacing was a little bit wider than it is usually, and I don't have a good settings, and I don't have a gap meter.
Even your mill didn't want you to make this beer.
That's right. It didn't want it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it was 10 pounds of RAR, 2-row,
Okay.
2 pounds Pils, Vireman, 12 ounces of Breeze Crystal 20, and that's it for the malts.
Wow. All right.
The OG on this one was 1061. I intended it for it to be something like 1068. I used a blend of hops, 1 to 2 to 1, or one, Columbus, Galaxy, Motueka. So it's 50% Galaxy, Columbus and Motueka, 25 each. And once I made that blend, I used it at 15 minutes for 10 IBUs, 5 minutes for another 10, and at 0 I did another 15 IBUs.
Okay.
And then I'd use that same blend for the dry hop.
All right.
Dry hop for 4 days. And it was made 13 days ago. So that's why there's some of these things. But the aroma on, I mean, I'm still figuring out some of the, it's amazing how fast this beer degrades in ways that I'm like, it blows me away. Like,
yeah, well, as homebrewers, we don't have to deal with all the stuff in suspension. And like, that stuff carries flavor, and it carries.
Yeah, exactly.
Carries.
But what's in the keg, that has such low oxidation, and the aroma is really, really intense. Something happened with the bottling. But,
yeah, voices do carry, so I'd be careful.
Keep it down now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. It was around 35, 40 IBUs.
All right.
Yep.
Is it? Were you guys talking about the bitterness? I mean, for me, the few examples that I've had don't really carry much bitterness at all, but this seems very firmly bitter. Well, like IPA style.
I mean, I think the cellar maker beers we were just trying with this as well have a fair amount of bitterness with them, too. I mean, I have two here with me, and I think mine, I was interested when you were talking about your let's try some. A couple things I'm interested in. One is, like, you're adding hops while it's still boiling. Like, for me, when I do double New England IPAs or New England double IPAs or whatever, I keep everything just at Whirlpool and dry hop.
I tried that. I went that direction. I didn't like the astringency I was picking up from the late editions.
We'll talk about mine after the show. We'll talk about what you think about them and stuff. You know, you've done a lot of these, so it'd be kind of fun to talk about that. But yeah, it's. And then the other thing, I was surprised that you didn't use any flaked malts at all. No oats and no.
I was doing that for a long time, but I was listening to some of the big people in the industry that do this, and a lot of them don't use it. And I do use it sometimes, and on some batches I don't. And really, with the big dry hop, you're going to get a lot of haze anyway.
So what yeast strain? Did you say the yeast strain? I missed that.
I didn't say the yeast strain. So this is a blend. This is London Ale 3 and Cal Ale. So 001.
Why did you do the blend? Just
honestly, this time I've done the blend before, but the reason why I did it this time, it was they only had one pack of London Ale 3, and I was doing a big batch, and so I was like, I'll just get a fresh pack of 001.
Do you notice a difference
between
in
like
esters?
Pure London Ale and like this blend?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's a good. It's kind of, you get some of the character that you want, a little bit of that ester character, and also the attenuation goes down just slightly, which is nice, but it still ends up with a clean beer, and I haven't noticed a huge difference, so I kind of like it.
Yeah, I think London Ale 3, there is a little issue there with attenuation. At times you have to be really finicky with it, make sure you catch it before it's dropping out or anything like that, even though it doesn't really totally drop out, but it does slow down a lot. So I think that's kind of an interesting take on doing that. When do you add the dry hops? I'm interested in hearing. Sorry, Brian.
I've tried adding the dry hops at high kreuzen. I've tried adding them before. I've tried adding them after crashing. Honestly, I haven't noticed a huge difference, and I kind of like just timing it so that I get the dry hops in right before it goes into keg. So. And I don't want them sitting around on that. So I wait until the fermentation's mostly done, and then I dry hop without crashing. And
what temperature are you dry hopping and how many days?
High 60s for 4 days.
Okay.
Basically it's all about timing before it gets into the keg for me. So enough time so it's 4 days on, crash it, and then it goes in the keg. Yeah.
All right, very good. Anything else to add, Brian?
I was going to ask if there's one particular inspiration, like which beer do you most want to emulate from there? And then what other good advice did you get on making New England IPAs from the people that you met over there? I assume you met some of the brewers that actually do it. You met some of the originals or just some people that are just working at some of these breweries that do it day in and day out?
I didn't actually get a chance to meet anybody out there, but I did research on Trillium's methods, and Trillium actually they list ingredients on their website for their beers, so I sort of started there. Trillium to me seemed like a West Coast IPA with a little haze. Like they're on the more bitter side.
Interesting.
But then I went up to Alchemist, and Alchemist Heady Topper and Focal Banger. Really, Focal Banger was the one that I was like, wow, that really blew me away. And I noticed something was really, really different about that beer. The maltiness. They really concentrate. I think they're using English malts, and it's just an entirely different thing. But Treehouse was the one that really made me have to know more about the style, because I was like, I can't go 3,000 miles away to wait in line at Treehouse because it's the only place you can get it.
Right.
So I need something close.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything local that you like? Any of the California? New England? You were talking about before. You thought they were kind of a little bit off on some of them, and there are a bunch of people now making them. So is there anything local that you've had that you're like, this is good, or they're getting there at least? Like Alvarado Street, I know they makes a bunch. Obviously, Cellar Maker has gone almost strictly now to New England IPAs, and
I
bunch
think
of other
Cellar
ones.
Maker is one of my favorites, if not my favorite for hoppy beers in the Bay Area. So I would say Cellar Maker first, and Fieldwork also has some really nice ones.
I wasn't sure they were. I didn't know. Oh yeah, Fieldwork. Yeah, definitely.
It's been hit and miss from Alvarado for me. Like one of the ones that sent me to the East Coast was an Alvarado beer, and I once I tried that, I can't remember what it's called. Something the Barbarian or.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, all the names are kind of,
Well, that beer was just really, really intense. That sent me out there because I had to try, the originals, and but I've also had some, not fully fermented beers from them. I think they're just cranking them out really fast sometimes. So.
Well, that's one of the tricks too. Like with this, that, like, you want them to be really fresh.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like you got to make sure everything's done and taste them and make sure. Yeah,
exactly.
It's tough.
Because like you said, they don't age. They don't translate well.
And this is like the crazy style that everybody cans, and then they have sellouts of their, like they sell, like there's a Dancing Gnome place in Pittsburgh. Every time they have a can release, people are lined up for Saturday, and it's like they sell out when they and Brew Gentlemen in Pittsburgh as well. And then you have like the releases that Cellar Maker used to sell out, but then their ability now, like their way of avoiding that is like, let's charge $24 for a 4-pack or something. And it's like, well, you're not going to sell out, but
it's becoming Disneyland. They're just trying to price out people, so there's not a huge demand, but you can still get in if you want. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's give away a prize. We're going to give away the $40 gift certificate to grogtag.com. The $40, at least your beer will look good, gift certificate, and that I think
Kalin's beer looked pretty good anyway, but he does.
We're going to make it look better with GrogTag.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, he could clear it up a little bit too.
See, Jason,
he had that London 3 in there that kind of brought a little haze in. I thought, well, you can buy some yeast that drops out a little better.
Not only did Jason not win the Grog Tag, but he has 10 gallons of hazy beer at home to drink. So it's like a double punishment.
Oh, man.
But it's here tonight, so he actually has 5 gallons of it. So 5 gallons will be consumed by well, maybe not. We'll see.
Fair enough.
Go to the Bay Area Mashers booth. Bay Area Mashers are good friends of ours in the Bay Area there.
Oh, not mine. But,
Oh, well, okay.
I'm kidding. They are.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Dr. Homebrew. Thanks for our live audience here. About to go to club night and check stuff out and drink some homebrew.
Cheering for the audience.
Kalin and Jason, thank you very much for dragging beers up here. And until next time, we will see you all later.
Thanks, JP, for drinking the New England IPA.
Ugh.
Yeah, keep your beer off the operating table.